Welcome to all the Aquarius rising signs of our zodiac to your astrology for the month of March. On Cosmic Girl 101, I'm going to be taking you through all of the planets in transits in this month in this video for your rising sign. Trust you're doing well. It's a busy month. There's a lot of celestial movement and activity in the month of March. We're having 2 eclipses in the month of March. So there's big things happening around you, through you, and with you. Okay, so before we get into that, I'd like to talk about your ruling planet Saturn and where Saturn is transiting, that is your focus. So apart from all the planets in transits that we're going to be talking about for the month, this is information that you can keep in your back pocket on where your focus is and what's going on with you. Okay, so Saturn, your ruling planet, is in Pisces in your second house, right next to your first house, and Saturn is your ruling planet. So there's a connection, there's a unison here with the first and the second. So you're working closely in tandem with things that you want to begin, that you want to start, that you want to bring life force and energy towards, and where you want to create more structure in your life. And that's Pisces, your second house of assets, possessions, your skill set. It's also your everyday money. And it's to do with things that support the physical body. So that's where your ruling planet is in Pisces in your second house. So for you, as an Aquarius rising, think of this transit as this is in the back of your mind, like swimming in the back of your consciousness. Whilst there's so much activity going on all the time around us, through us, and with us, this is the hyper focus, if you will. Saturn in Pisces in his second house. So learning new things to build a skill set, educating yourself. What skills do you have that bring resources to you that support you? What assets and possessions do you have that you want to grow and develop or dissolve and let go of? Because assets are great, but sometimes they can be burdensome too. So you may be considering such things as culling, releasing possessions, like get rid of that Pokemon card set that you've had in the corner of your house forever and ever collecting dust and might be worth a pretty penny. That can help your everyday finances improve. Those sorts of things might also be up for grabs when your ruling planet Saturn is in Pisces, your second house of assets and possessions. So if you feel like you need to have a garage sale and offload some possessions that can give you a lot of empowerment financially, this would be the transit to do it. So the focus is on that second house that supports the first house. So we're going back to the body here. So when your ruling planet is in in Pisces, and Saturn is your ruling planet that rules your first house of yourself and your body, you might be, with Saturn transiting in Pisces, maybe indulging, if you will, in escapism through drugs, alcohol, partying, going on holidays, enjoying yourself, having the time of your life. But at the same time, you may be harnessing some real resentment towards yourself about the hemorrhaging of all the money that it takes to have these so-called fun times when we're talking about enjoying ourselves in the zodiac sign of Pisces. Things like overseas trips, trips over water sports may also be factoring into this transit that you're connected to because your ruling planet is in Pisces. So your ruling planet Saturn will be here for quite some time, and it will ingress into Aries, and then it'll come back into Saturn. So think of this house as being hyper focus for you that needs a lot of development and work, and you're the key protagonist in making sure that your finances flow just nicely and what you indulge with is healthy and doesn't harm your body or your sense of self, like your sense of control. So interesting transit for the Aquarius rising signs of our zodiac. So that is the information you keep in your back pocket whilst we talk about all the activity of the month of March through the lens of astrology in this video for you. Okay, let's get cracking. So we'll open up the We'll open up the astrology forecast talking about Venus retrograding in Aries. From the 1st to the 27th of March, Venus will be retrograding in your third house. So this third house really isn't about you per se. We know that your ruling planet Saturn is in the second house of Pisces. The third house is about what's going on around you. So this is like siblings, education, and travel aspects of your life. So when Venus is retrograding here, it's like a change of the guard regarding where you move on the day to day, your education ideals or dreams. So you might be reevaluating such things as education or the environment that you plant yourself into on the day to day. You may also experience or witness. I had some really quite interesting conversations with siblings, and it could be about um, rifts with family members or parents or within their home. And that could have also a knock on effect with their travel plans, or there could be a legal component to this trouble in waters in paradise that they're going through. Or it could also have to do with education that they may be struggling with. So I just expect from the 1st to the 27th of March for you experiencing a lot of turmoil around you, like not real sure if the environment's the right environment that you're planted in, not real sure about the educational journey that you've been on, if you need to upskill or go back to school. Siblings really going through it, trouble in paradise with home family. Could it, like again, do with travel plans or education or even legal situations. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting time for you from the 1st to the 27th of March with Venus retrograding in your third house of Aries. Okay, moving on to the third. Mercury ingresses into Aries, joining retrograde Venus. So these are quite different energies working in your third house that you're going to be witnessing. Mercury in Aries is quick, sharp, intellectual. It's about the money. It's about the social component. It's about intellectual pursuits. It can be quite sleight of hand. Mercury is very quick in Aries. So clarity will be something that will be up for grabs, if you will, from the 3rd to the 15th. And that would be a great time to have the deep conversations, especially when it's got to do with finances, because Mercury from the 15th of March goes into a retrograde. So what does this mean for your immediate environment, education, and siblings? Well, there's an opportunity to sort things out, but it may be tricky to get down to brass tacks, especially when it's got to do with finances and a lot of intellectual heavy lifting needed, whether that's the siblings struggling with that or you coming to terms with something in your immediate environment or to do with education that you need to take really quick, sharp action towards, like move house, relocate, or maybe snap up a new opportunity to take on a course or an educational journey. And the costs might be just right for you at this time between the 3rd and the 15th of March. So again, it's I'm not totally removing you from it, but there are opportunities around you when these things are happening around you. But I keep focusing on a sibling going through something quite mentally and almost emotionally quite difficult with this transit. So not so much you, I don't think. Okay. On the 7th, Mars in Cancer, and Mars rules that third house. So this is interesting on the 7th because Mars is the ruler of Aries, but Mars is in Cancer. And then Mars is in the 6th house for you. So that's about work, health, services. It's also about labor and illness and sickness. That's the 6th house. So Mars is there. And this is Mars in Cancer is about protection, home, family, making something secure. It's very passionate about such things. And in the 6th house is passionate about securing good health, good services, good work situations, good relationships with co-workers. So that's Mars in Cancer in the 6th house. But when Mars trines the Sun in Pisces, and this is in your 2nd house where your ruling planet is Aquarius rising, I'm factoring in that the 7th house rules Leo for you in your chart. And that's about contracts, agreements, relationships, partnerships, and things coming to resolution, because it's a house of endings. So when Mars trines the sun in Pisces in your second house where your ruling planet is, I wonder if you have an opportunity to have a service or a work issue ironed out that you have had struggle with in regards to a financial component. So this could be struggling to get the right pay bracket, struggling to secure a contract. So if that's the case, I think the 7th of March might be the day to mark in your calendar where something comes to a peaceful resolution. Okay. Okay, moving on to the 11th of March. Mercury conjuncts retrograde Venus in your third house. And on the same day, we have the Sun conjunct your ruling planet Saturn in your second house. So the 11th of March is going to be a pretty big deal. So I'd be marking this one in your calendar. Excuse me. Mercury and Venus conjunct. So you could liken this to as Mercury, that's all about that communication, intellectual pursuits, very tricky, very quick, about finances. Connecting with retrograde Venus, which is about the home, family, parenting, long distance travel, higher education, and legalities. Something's harmonizing on this day. So a sibling or an extended family member, or even something in your environment or with education comes together organically here. But it feels like with Mercury conjunct, when Mercury is the head, Venus is the heart, this is like a no nonsense necessary step in the right direction. So I would expect it's no BS day, that you're going to be hearing some big communication regarding education, something in your immediate environment or with travel and with a sibling on the 11th. So some sort of resolutions happening, I think, which is good, but you're witnessing this. And also on the same day, on the 11th, the sun conjuncts your ruling planet. So this hammers down what happens on the 7th, I think, Aquarius rising. The sun that rules that 7th house conjuncting your ruling planet. This is like something set in stone or something coming to a resolution. So a contract goes forward, you agree to a partnership, or you agree to end something, finally let go of something. So something's taking shape and form, while something is also potentially coming to a resolution that's really going to be affecting you, because the sun's conjuncting you. So this is about a relationship that is you would liken this as, again, with that Mercury and Venus, they're in each other's spaces. Well, the sun and the Saturn, your ruling planet, are in each other's spaces. So this is a relationship or a contract in your face and going, hey, do you want to take it on? Because this is about your assets, your finances, your possessions, things that support you. You either want to take it on or you don't. So this is a big day of signing on the dotted line, shaking hands, putting a ring on it, or at least ending a contract or an agreement or a relationship. Big day on the 11th. On the 13th, Uranus sextiles the sun. This could be quite a surprising turnabout with a family member or in the home or with a parent on this day. And it's going to be about a relationship, contract, or an agreement. So maybe someone in your family or a parent has a nice turnabout with their finances on this day, which makes you quite happy. So you might be happy that a family member or a parent or something in the home has finally come to a resolution. There's some sort of benefit to something being put to bed here on the 13th that will be quite surprising for you to witness. Okay, moving on to the 14th, we've got our first eclipse of March, and this is a total lunar eclipse. And this is in Virgo, your 8th house. And the ruler of Virgo, so we always, as astrologers, go, well, where's the ruler of Virgo at the time of this full moon lunar eclipse? Well, the ruler of Virgo is Mercury, and it's in Aries, that 3rd house, affecting siblings, short distance travel, and education. Yeah. Okay, so we're keeping that in our back pocket. The ruler is there, but the eclipse is happening in your eighth house. So the eighth house is about other people's resources, debt, tax, and inheritance. So what's on full bloom here is a sibling educational opportunity or something in your immediate environment is being impacted by a completion of a financial dispute, an inheritance dispute, also the end of a financial um, endeavor for a sibling or to do with education or again within your immediate environment. Something's coming to complete close here. So this full moon in Virgo, a lunar eclipse is always herald something to do with mothers. So siblings may also say or tell you news that a mother's ended a dispute or something with an inheritance, or they received money or support. A sibling may also be declaring, hey, I've ended my debts are done, I'm over, or they cash in on an asset and they've got something to say about that as well. Because lunar eclipses are more about the mother, but it's also indicating that on the 14th, a lunar eclipse is about an environment. So maybe a sibling or to do with education or travel indicates that there's a change of environment because of resources. So this could be relocation. This could also be to do with for health reasons. Maybe a mother is relocating or moving on. Something like that is going on the 14th because the lunar eclipses are connected to mothers. So it's a big deal because it's our first eclipse of 2025 and total lunar eclipses are nothing to sneeze at. And in that eighth house, this is like the end. It's the closing of a chapter for a mother, or an environmental change. And it could have to do with inheritance, debt, tax, other people's resources. It's done. It's over. It's run its course. So really, really interesting lunar eclipse that you'll be witnessing on the 14th of March. And again, because it's Mercury's in the third house, the ruler of Virgo. I just think this is coming from a sibling, or you're hearing some big news, or it's about education, or something about the environment changing. Yeah, really, really big news day on the 14th. But it is a culmination point, so something's ending. Okay, moving on to the next day, the 15th, we've got Mercury now in Aries retrograding. So Mercury now backtracks. And when Mercury retrogrades in Aries, this is setbacks, delays, and challenges. So from the 15th of March, moving forward, with Mercury retrograding in Aries connected to your siblings, travel, and immediate environment, and education, I wonder now the eclipse is said and done, Mercury's job now is to actually gather the resources and make those changes happen. So this could be like waiting for the inheritance payout, waiting for the paperwork that's to say the debt's been cleared, or waiting for news on when someone can relocate. So yeah, Mercury's backtracking now for the 15th of March. Okay, on the 19th, the Sun conjuncts Neptune, and this is in your second house where your ruling planet is. And so when the Sun conjuncts Neptune, again, the Sun rules the seventh house of Leo and conjunct. This is like the dissolution of a relationship, contract, agreement. Something's put to bed on the 19th. And it's got to do with assets, possessions, finances, that second house where your ruling planet is. So this could be a relationship, putting something to bed, a contract that a relationship's been connected to finally ends on the 19th. On the 20th, the spring equinox begins in the northern hemisphere and the autumn equinox begins in the southern hemisphere. So this is a change of season wherever you're located on our gorgeous planet, whether You're stepping into spring or autumn. We always see and feel the change of season. So enjoy that in any way that you do on a gorgeous planet. The same day, the sun ingresses into Aries, your third house, and this is the sun's zodiac sign of exaltation. So the sun will be in Aries for 4 weeks. And when the sun ingresses into Aries at 0 degrees, we astrologers consider this the start of the astrological year. So it is the astrological new year on the 20th of March. So happy new year to all you astrology enthusiasts out there. Okay, so let's talk about the sun in Aries for you. So the sun's exalted in Aries. So in short, this is the ideal zodiac sign for the sun to be in. Aries, new beginnings, growth, change, optimism, life coming back. And we know that the sun rules Leo, your 7th house, which is relationships, partnerships, contracts, agreements, endings, and also to do with marriage. That's the 7th house, Leo. And the sun's going to be transiting in Aries for 4 weeks, and the 3rd house trines the 7th house. So this is important to factor in this transit. So we've got a very powerful, very, very content sun in the 3rd house. So we know that Venus and Mercury are retrograde here. So siblings, education, and travel are highlighted in your 3rd house. So when the sun ingresses here, you can expect life force and optimism to come back regarding the 3rd house topics. So siblings might be feeling more settled and feeling quite content with their relationships, their agreements, and what they put to bed. They could also have some opportunities to be more optimistic about family disputes, legalities, higher education, or travel destinations. Things are looking on the up. There's also opportunity in the 3rd house with the sun here for relationships in your life, getting some wind behind the sails in regards to education, traveling, and also their siblings having a really nice time. So expect things to start really lightening up in the 3rd house for 4 weeks from the 20th of March to the 20th of April. So from the 21st of April, March, things get really silly. So there's a lot going on here. I'm just going to take a sip of water. And let's talk about the rest of the month because there's a lot going on. As if there isn't already a lot going on, right, Aquarius? Seeing it just you're just like, Jesus, there's so much going on around me and it's a lot. And you're right, it is a lot. March would have to be one of the most active when it comes to the celestial bodies. It's incredible. Okay, 21st. Retrograde Venus in Aries, that 3rd house, sextiles Pluto in Aquarius. So the 1st house rules you. We know your ruling planet is in the 2nd house of Pisces. So when Venus sextiles Pluto in your 1st house, this indicates that there could be this could be the day, if you will, where you have a return of an opportunity to do with travel, education, or with a sibling. So an opportunity to talk, an opportunity to discuss missed opportunities on the 21st. Because Pluto's in your 1st house, it'll be here for bloody 20 years. And so Pluto is about transformation. So I wonder if there's a turnaround regarding travel, education, or for a sibling on this day. And because Pluto's in your 1st house where Venus is sextiling it, this also indicates that you might have a return of calm and peace regarding family or travel destinations or higher education as well, or even legalities on the 21st. Okay, moving on to the 23rd. The sun conjuncts retrograde Venus. So we know the sun rules the 7th house. And when the sun conjuncts retrograde Venus, which rules the 9th and 4th house, but it's in the 3rd house, this could be some big news for a sibling or to do with travel or education. And that improves the home, family, and again, travel destinations, higher education, or even legalities. Things look pretty up and up here on the 24th. 23rd, excuse me, when Venus conjuncts, when the sun conjuncts Venus. On the 24th, the Sun conjuncts retrograde Mercury, doubling down from the day before. Now the Sun says to Mercury, we're all good to go. Let's just, all those missing details or delays and setbacks, this is the day where we can finally put things to rest and we can secure something. So this could be a sibling, travel or educational aspect of your life now gets a reboot, or you get some clarity. This could be a return of finances to siblings, or a return of a financial opportunity regarding travel or education as well on the 24th. The 27th, retrograde Venus ingresses back into Pisces, your second house, joining your ruling planet, also Neptune in the North Node. So when Venus retrogrades back into Pisces, this is her zodiac sign of exaltation. So she does very well in Pisces. Venus fills that ninth house and fourth house. And the fourth house is home, family, and parenting. The ninth house is long distance travel, foreigners, higher education. That's the ninth house. So when Venus goes back into your second house, joining your ruling planet, Neptune in the North Node, Venus, when she conjuncts Neptune on the 27th, this indicates a dissolving of something regarding financial disputes, possessions or assets that a family member's going through, a parent, or to do with a home dynamic. Could also be the dissolving, if you will, of a legal situation, something international, or to do with higher education on the 27th. Can you hear the theme? I think you're picking up what's going on in the month of March for you, Aquarius rising. Okay, moving on to the 29th, retrograde Mercury ingresses back into Pisces, joining Venus, exalted in Pisces, your second house. But the thing with Mercury is Mercury's in detriment and fall in Pisces, doesn't operate well, needs to get the creative juices flowing intellectually to keep up a momentum, can be a little bit overwhelmed with the possibilities of abundance and everything being good. Mercury is about pulling everything apart and being logical. So it finds it hard to have faith and belief. So when Mercury retrogrades back into Pisces, your second house, this is where there could be a lot of confusion about believing in other people's resources, sex and intimacy, and children, and your creative endeavors. You might find it hard to keep up a momentum or keep the life force going there. So it can be a tricky transit with Mercury retrograding back into Pisces, his second house. On the same day, the 29th, we have our second eclipse of March, and that's a partial solar eclipse in Aries. This is your third house again. So we know the sun's exalted in Aries, and when we have a solar eclipse happening, this indicates a powerful new beginning. Powerful. Solar themes are usually around fathers. Also represents leadership, ego, a change in identity. So the partial solar eclipse in Aries in the third house on the 29th, this could be a sibling going through a big transformation with their parent, their father, or an identity change with a father. And to do with travel and education, well, you just could be starting off on a new adventure, learning something brand new, moving it into a different environment. But, solar eclipses really aren't anything to sneeze at. This indicates a really big beginning for a sibling or to do with education and travel. So something big is brewing for you in the month of March, and it's all tied up with family, other people's resources, and siblings is what I'm getting for March for you. Okay, on the 30th, retrograde Mercury in Pisces conjuncts Neptune. Again, this is dissolving of other people's resources and assets, settling things like inheritance, debt, tax issues. Mercury also ruling that fifth house can also indicate that there's an ending to a relationship, a creative project, or something to do with children. Sort of fades into the background on the 30th. So that's what's going on there with Mercury retrograding back into Pisces, conjuncting Neptune. Okay. The same day on the 30th, Saturn, your ruling planet, sextiles. In short, you are extending a hand to a family member, something to do with a home, real estate, or property, or a parent. So maybe you're giving a parent a helping hand, or you're an asset to a parent. You give a parent or a family member something that you own and value that helps them on the 30th of March. And then the last thing that happens on the 30th of March, Neptune ingresses into Aries. This is a big deal. Neptune hasn't been in Aries for 165 years. And you guessed it, it's going into Aries, your third house. Okay, so let's talk about this because this is a really big deal. If you're into astrology, this is something that I'm sure you've been waiting to hear about or are interested in to see how it's going to be going for you in your third house. So we know that your third house is Aries. We know that it's ruled by Mars. So Neptune's been in Pisces since 2011 and it's ruled by Venus. So we have a very different Neptune in a very different zodiac sign. Aries is, what can we begin? What can we start? Where can we grow? Where can we flourish? Let's take action, Mars. Let's just aggressively pursue what we want, Mars. Let's be strategic, Mars. Let's just act on our own instincts. Let's take the initiative. Let's go. That's Mars. And in the third house of siblings, travel and education, well, Neptune is about no boundaries. Sky's the limit, if you will. Neptune is about creativity, illusion, delusion, fantasy. It's mystical, it's otherworldly. It's good at dissolving things. It's good at making things foggy and hazy, but it's really good for inspiration. But because Neptune is in Aries, a cardinal fire zodiac sign ruled by Mars, I think it's going to be quite obvious that education, travel, and his siblings are going to become extremely aggressive in pursuing their heart's desire. And I think what helps about this is that we know that Neptune has no boundaries. We know that Neptune knows no limits. So we can think of travel, education, and siblings going, there are no limits to what I can do. There are no limits. But that could be the trap in regards to feeling so optimistic and inspired to keep going, keep pushing. That's that Aries part, which is let's go, let's go, let's go. That could eventually become counterproductive. So words to the wise with Neptune in Aries, have a strategy and try not to create too many pies in the sky and not get lost in the sauce and the juice. Keep your feet on the ground, but you're going to need something to help motivate you to keep something going and being consistent. And to do with siblings, education, and travel, it's going to be difficult because Mars fizzles out very quickly. It engages in something, then it disengages quite as intensely. And that can be difficult to keep up the inspiration and creative juices to make, water into wine and make a dream a reality in regards to travel, education, and your siblings. So it's going to be an interesting transit. So it's going in your third house. So again, I don't think this is particularly you because you're an Aquarius rising. So this isn't you. This is you witnessing these changes of the guard. And Neptune will be in Aries from the 30th of March into the 5th of July. And then from the 5th of July goes into retrograde. And yep, you guessed it, goes back into Pisces for one last spin, the second house. So even though there might be a lot of spark, a lot of, exacerbating, fun times, if you will, with Neptune, juicing up your sibling or the topics of travel and education, Neptune's going to go back into Pisces, which is about assets, possessions, things that support you and your skill set. So think of Neptune in Aries from the 30th of March to the 5th of July as like a soft opening. It's not official until it's official when Neptune goes back into Aries 2026. So you could see siblings, stepping in and out of something new regarding education or travel or education and travel destinations. Yeah, they're coming together, but then they're not. Those sorts of things are up for grabs with Neptune in Aries for a little while. So it is going to be an interesting transit, but again, doesn't rule your first house. I think when your ruling planet Saturn steps into Aries, your third house, that will be interesting because then you'll be all up in it. So that's coming very soon in 2025, which we will be uncovering for you. Well, I will be uncovering for you, Aquarius rising. So that is how I see Aries, Neptune in Aries transit going for the Aquarius rising signs. So that's your astrology for the month of March. A lot to chew over, a lot to contemplate. I mean, I obviously make these videos in advance, so you'd be sitting there thinking, well, that's not right, that's not right. Well, it hasn't happened yet, so stay tuned. There's a lot of activity with your fourth house, your fifth house, your sixth house. Third, fourth, second house. That's the focus for you as an Aquarius rising. So a big month, lot to process there. Until next time, Aquarius rising, stay cosmic.